We ended September with gate 18,
Mm.
and which is your gate that you're
Mhm. Mhm.
very attuned
Mhm.
to. Gate of
Just a little
correction.
bit.
And gate 18 is where in the chart?
It is in the scheme.
Yes. And it is the gate that is leading off into this month where we are taking a tour around all the gates of the spleen.
Oh.
So, all the gates that we're talking about today are in the spleen.
Oh.
So, Human Design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, your Human Design guide.
And I'm Haley, on this journey with you to uncover the power of human design.
Together, we're here to explore how embracing your authentic self is the ultimate path to a life of more freedom and fulfillment.
Welcome to the Human Design Hive podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello, Haley. How are you today?
Hi. Good.
Well, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. And for you listening, thanks for joining us here on the podcast. We have
Bye.
another sun transit update coming up.
Mhm.
But first of all, Haley, you said you had something you wanted to share with me.
Yes, I have two kind of funny little stories. So the first one, we are fly fishing now, me and Presley, and he's been into it a little bit longer than I have. But I think it was one day last week, maybe the week before, he was talking about getting some new waders that you slip on so you get in the water without being wet. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, here, try on my old ones to see if they fit for you. And so I put them on and I went to go clip them in. I was like, because I have like the little suspender type straps.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
why are these buckles set up two different way? And he's like, I don't know. I've never noticed that. And I was like, how many times have you worn this and you've never noticed that
They were
they,
uneven.
well, not that they're uneven. It's one side is the female end, like on the actual top of the wader. One side's the female
Mm-hmm.
end, one side's the male end. And then so the straps of the buckle, they match correspondingly. But so like instead of both sides on the chest being like the male end or whatever, one's one, one's the other. And he's like, I don't know, I've never noticed that. And I was like, well, I noticed these little details.
Details.
Uh, details. And I was like, hi, human design.
I have a gated. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
gated detail.
But then my other little story, one day last week we were sitting on the porch in the morning, like trying to figure out what we were gonna do for the week.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I want to watch the Colorado Buffaloes college football game later this week. And I was like, okay. And so we're planning
University of Colorado or Colorado State?
University of Colorado.
University of Colorado. I assume
Hmm.
there's a CSU, Colorado State
There is, yeah.
University. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But so he's like, we kept going on with our day or our week, figuring out what other errands we had to do. And then I asked him, I was like, do you want to watch the game out? And he immediately, I didn't even finish it. He goes, no. And I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, hi, sacral.
Uh-oh, I was starting to give more options.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, all right. And
Like,
he
okay.
is pure sacral generator. He knows exactly what he wants. That's
Yeah.
which is what is probably an interesting dynamic in the relationship because you probably want to talk things out more or
Hmm.
sometimes like explain yourself a little bit more in your reasoning, but he's just like, yep, nope.
Yeah, he'll do that. He'll be like, do you want to go do this? And I'm like, well, and he's like, I just need a yes or no. And I was like,
You have to train him because he's still asking you from his own perspective to be like,
yeah.
do you really want a yes or no answer? Yes. Okay. Well, shit. Just now and
Yeah.
then when he feels like he's in amicable mood, to be like, oh, it would really help me if you gave me a little bit of chance to just kind of muse for a minute. Yeah. Just give me like a 10-second. Give me a 10-second rule. Allow
Yeah.
me to answer the question and then be like, yes or no after 10 seconds. Might work. But
Yeah. So
how does that feel
yeah.
when he like kind of cuts you off like that?
I
Used
don't
to
know. I think I'm just used to it.
it? Well, I guess notice if it ever like triggers you to understand that, oh, maybe this is just that or function of that right now. And it's
Hmm.
nothing more than that because
Yeah.
that's interesting. Well, Thank you. It's funny you start seeing all these little insights like that.
Mhm,
It's kind of like your dad when he'll come home from working and he'll be like so tired and he might lay down for like 5 seconds. He likes to blame it on saying he had a Slurpee after work or something. So it's like really cold. And apparently he thinks that saps his
it
energy. I'm
slows
like,
them
maybe you're
down.
just tired. But but in true manifesting generator style, he can only take it for so long. He's not ready to shut down for the day. He
Mhm,
may sit here for a minute and then he will almost have a whole second day of work out there in the backyard while I'm making dinner of just like, I mean, he was last night. I had to, after he, like, probably he was in my office. He just laid here on the couch behind me for 15, 20 minutes. And then
mhm,
he just got to get up. He's got to go start doing stuff. And I noticed how it it affects me feeling like I need to be doing stuff as
mhm,
well, but
mhm.
and do things in my own pace. But yesterday was kind of a low energy day anyhow, so it was hitting harder. I'm like, as soon as he came home, I'm like, I need to look like I was busy. I want to like, oh shit, he didn't see me vacuuming to prove I was not at my desk all day.
Yeah.
Quite often I am. But anyway, so anyways, I digress. So that was thank you for I love hearing little insights like
Mhm,
that that it starts to I'm telling you, you start seeing everything through that lens and you're like,
mhm.
"Oh, I can appreciate that about me and also okay, I'll just let that slide. That's just the energy."
Yeah. I mean, after you did it, I was like, yeah, I was kinda when I was mulling it over later, I was like, yeah, I was going into an or. I was like, I should have just said, do you want to watch it at home?
Yeah.
I was like,
Just
yep.
something you want to do here. Well, good. Okay, so speaking of energy, let's move on to today's topic, which is the sun transits for October already.
Ooh.
Falls in the air. More so for you, for sure.
Mhm,
Um, but the sun transits, we do these episodes I think last week or last month, you explained it a little bit, but we just try to focus on the gates that the sun will be moving through for a particular month,
mhm,
because the sun will move through a gate about roughly 6 days or so. It's not exact,
mhm,
and I always do this as an afterword, but I'm going to say it right up front this time.
mhm,
The ephemeris we use is a kind of global ephemeris that it is just based off of 12 a.m. uh, Greenwich Mean Time,
mhm,
and so there may be a slight wobble here and there around that
mhm.
time. So if I say like starting this month, it's going to be October 2nd. Just be mindful. It could be either very later in the day on the 31st, or is it 30th? Sorry, 30 days in September,
Or
and
the
then
first if you said it starts on the second.
oh, you're right. That's what I meant. It could be like somewhere around there. And like I
Mhm,
said, if you're on my mailing list or you follow me on Instagram, I try to post it if I see that it's shifting a little bit before that or after. I will accommodate to around the time it's shifting best we
mhm,
can. Although sometimes I just flat out forget, but I try not to. I, I really try to do more and more of these systems in place to help me stay organized.
mhm,
And the more I look into organizational things, and I've started using Notion to organize all my notes, which I really love, I see more and more things that tend towards saying that I might have ADHD. But
mhm.
I'm not diagnosing myself, nor do I want
Mhm,
to, because I don't need any more labels put on me. But I do see that I am better with systems and organization in place, because otherwise I lose track of
mhm.
everything. But also I'm not so great at putting those systems and organizations into place, and could really use some help with that sometimes. But see, now I don't even know why I brought that up.
Talking about, sending out your emails.
Oh yeah, so I as far as social media or emails or stuff, I don't like to use schedulers, right?
Mhm,
I try to maybe use the tool to help organize things, but then if I do schedule something, it may only be like a day ahead. Like I'm not doing months worth of things ahead. So
Mhm.
that being said, that means sometimes I forget things. Things move through, fall through the cracks. But hey, that's me, and I always do my
Only
best
human.
to. I always do my best to do my best. But yeah. So, anyways, right off the bat, got onto myself there. So the transits. So okay, there could be some wiggle room when I give you the day, but also why do we focus just on the sun for these transit episodes, Haley?
Because it is the biggest influence.
Hmm.
It is large and in charge.
That is very true. It is the very large, closed celestial body. It is
Mhm.
our star, and so it constitutes a large part of your design,
Mhm.
and also everybody on the planet's going to be experiencing this energy in that expression. Um, it could be at any given time, these gates, hexagrams could be highlighted by other planets, but when it's highlighted by the sun, a lot more influence.
Mhm.
And also, it has been a great tool, I think, for me and for you, and for hopefully
Mhm.
you listening, in gaining a better understanding of the gates
Mhm.
themselves, their meanings, how they function, time of the year they occur, all those things. So it helps give that deeper level to
Mhm.
understanding the gates better.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're going to just get started
Mhm.
here. 10 minutes in, or however long it is, as I said, on October 2nd. Now, I told you before we got started that you're going to be excited. There's quite a theme here
Yes.
uh, in this month. And actually, the theme started in September. Well, at the end of September, where we're picking
Mhm.
up with gate 18. We ended September with gate 18,
Mm.
and which is your gate that you're
Mhm. Mhm.
very attuned
Mhm.
to, gate of
Just a little
correction.
bit.
And gate 18 is where in the chart?
It is in the scheme.
Yes. And it is the gate that is leading off into this month where we are taking a tour around all the gates of the spleen.
Wow.
So, all the gates that we're talking about today are in the spleen.
Oh,
So, that tells us a
okay.
lot of things about October.
Yeah. It is spooky season.
It is spooky season. And why do you say that when it relates to the spleen?
Because the spleen is all about fear.
There is definitely fears present for sure. But what else is it going to talk
It's
about?
it's an awareness center. No, yeah, no,
Awareness, yeah,
yeah.
it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Instincts and intuition
yeah.
and those things that are not often explained by logic and reason, right?
Mhm.
And you're right. Halloween is at the end of October, gives a lot of the woo out there.
Yeah.
Spooky season. That's good. So yeah. So on October 2nd, we are going to start off in gate 48.
Okay, jump into the other
Uh,
side of the
mhm,
spleen.
but still in that same circuit of energy. Yes. Yeah, so it moves up to. We're going from gate 18, which is in the spleen, as you said, going up to a continuation of that circuitry there to gate 48, which in the I Ching is referred to as the well. And in traditional human design, it is the gate of depth. And in quantum human design, it's gate of wisdom. And then as you see there, it connects with gate 16 and the channel of the wavelength. And so, what thinking about the well and depth and
Mhm.
wisdom, they kind of give away
A
the themes here in this gate, do
little
they
bit.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, really, gate 48 is about being able to really understand things deeply and still also with that wisdom and its depth to offer solutions, practical solutions to people because it is in the logic circuitry there. And also, it's part of this channel, this energy, the wavelength. It connects to gate 16 as like zest, skill, talent, whatever you want to call it. And so
Mhm.
it is part of that circuitry that is all about repetition and mastering talent and skills. And so this is the gate where it's like this is where all this wisdom has been gained over time of like going really deep on something.
Mhm.
And it's this gate can easily spot um where things could be improved. Again, there's that theme there. And there's also a strong desire within this gate to continue always to be learning and growing to complete that mastery. There is a fear, we always say, that's associated with each gate.
Mhm.
And one of the fears here is this fear of not knowing enough, or fear of inadequacy is what they call
Mhm.
it. And that you feel like you're not going to know enough in order to share your ideas. It just comes to what do they call it? It's the Dunning Kruger effect, I think it's called. Let me verify that.
'Cause you have this, don't you?
I do have this gate. It
But
is
you don't have the full channel, right?
I do not have the full channel. But
Ew.
yes. Yes. Dunning Kruger effect, which is, have you heard of that before?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
So basically it's the idea that it is so true. So there's a tendency with people who, this is talking about facing fears of inadequacy and feeling inadequate, is that, and this kind of ties into imposter syndrome too, is that there is this cognitive bias that people who don't really have the skills or the knowledge or the abilities tend to overestimate their competence in a particular area. They're
Mhm.
like, just jump right in. I know what I'm talking about. Where on the other side, those that actually do tend to have a lot more expertise or abilities tend to undervalue, underestimate what they know because it feels so obvious that everybody would know this, right? That everybody would find this equally as easy to obtain or to know or
Mhm.
to learn. And so it tends to not share what it knows because it feels like common knowledge. Hello.
Hi, me too.
I could attest to that. And for sure, it is interesting, and I do try it reminds me of things we talked about before, like with integrity too. If you're questioning if something that you're doing is in integrity, and if you have integrity, uh, don't worry about it. You do. You are integrity
Yeah.
in integrity, because if you weren't, you wouldn't even
You
be worried
wouldn't
about it.
care.
I don't give a shit. Well, the same thing here. If you find yourself questioning, do I know enough? Am I good enough? Can I do this? Have I blah 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 whatever? Yes. Yes, you can. And so
Yes.
especially if you have this gate, it's clear that you do know how to go deep onto things and you are able
Mhm.
to master a skill or a concept or whatever. A lot of these people would make great teachers, people who can go deep, stuff like that. And then it's also, since it is in the spleen, it is going to be tied to intuitive awareness.
Mhm.
And so, even though it's like logical circuitry, it offers practical solutions, but often it's very grounded in just this knowing of like where to go, uh, how to go deeper on these things. Like you allow your awareness to lead you to where you need to go in order to
Mhm.
gather more skills and more knowledge in that. It's really collective circuitry as well. So this knowledge and this depth is there to share, and it wants to
Mhm.
share. It's meant to be shared with others. However, it is projected energy. So what does that mean?
Um,
Meaning not
I mean,
generated, it's not manifested energy, it's projected energy. So what does that mean?
oh,
The
like I
circuitry
guess more it
there.
has to be called out.
Yes. It
Okay.
is definitely something that's like, yeah, it'll be shared with others, but there is an element of timing there of knowing and
It is
trusting.
was it the I Ching that calls it the well?
Mhm.
That is such a fitting thing because, like, if you think of a well,
Mhm.
the water is down there. It's for everyone, but you have to send the bucket down to pull out the water.
I love your insights. I do like that. Yes. Yeah. And so it is. quite often you'll know ahead of time, you will know what is going to be valuable, needs to be called out. However, there is an element of waiting there. Also, yeah, you've well goes deep, takes a lot of time to
Mhm.
back up, but they can't see it. It's down there, right? So you're there to, well, like that, bring it up to the surface so they can see it. But that means there is going to be some element of waiting, being patient, trusting that you will be looked upon, called upon to share your wisdom, and that really the right people will find you that are going to need what you have to say. And so it's not just about sharing information, it's information that's going to help them in some way also fulfill their potential, because it is in that circuitry of mastering skills and talents and everything. So it is your own talent, but then it is also what can help others as well as you
Mhm.
move forward. So it is intended to help share knowledge that's going to improve everyone in the state of humanity, let's say. And
Mhm.
so really the challenge here is to, like we said, allow yourself to trust that you'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. There's a lot of that in
Mhm.
that intuition and everything there. And to not let the fear of feeling like you don't know to stop you from always striving or creating or wanting to share. It's just you've got to trust that you have something valuable, and it is probably way, way deeper and way you know way more than you think you do.
Mhm.
But it does need to be called out. I can say that. So as we are transiting through those days, really kind of thinking about yourself reflectively, if you want to, what kind of knowledge or understanding do you hold that could help others in their lives? And maybe looking at the timing of things, do you feel this desire to share some of these things? Are you finding that more people are, or maybe you could pay attention to what people are coming to you for, or do ask you about, or interact with you about, of what your knowing is and your depth? And also kind of reflect, especially if you have this gate, that, are you someone who tends to hold yourself back from sharing what you know? And going into those themes of trusting and understanding and waiting for the right time. And yeah, so that's just some things about Gate 48. All right. So moving on October 8th to Gate 57. We're going right down to 57.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Let's see. You don't have that.
Nope. I
You don't have
only
any of
have
these gates.
18.
Well, I have this gate. I have the 48. I have the
You have
57.
a lot of sling gates, don't you?
I do. I have 5 out of 7. Okay.
Jeez.
And 57, I actually have a couple times, I think. Yes, I have it twice, conscious and unconscious. So, okay. So 57 in the I Ching is called the gentle.
Okay.
And in traditional, this is the gate of intuition, is what
Ooh.
it's called. And quantum, she calls it instinct, which pretty much instinct, intuition, same
Ew.
thing. So it has 3 channel connections. It connects to the sacral center with gate 34 in the
Have that.
channel of power. You do have gate 34. Yep, I have that
Uh-huh.
channel. It connects to gate 10 in the G center with in the channel of perfected form.
Ooh.
And then it also connects to the throat, 5720, which is called the brainwave.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So it connects to the sacral, it connects to the G, and it connects to the throat. So when it's connect to the sacral, this is power. This is the intuition to know when to act, when to move. Something that is definitely, they always talk about the gate of, or the channel of power, is like your own power for yourself. It's a very instinctual survival awareness, because it is, gate 57 is associated with intuition, knowing in the now, right? And I started to get onto those channels, but let me just back up first to intuition and gate 57. and what this is about, really. And so I think this one is, and I mean, we kind of use it interchangeably, instinct and intuition. This
Mhm.
one is very much an instinctual awareness. It is knowing, it's like always scanning the environment to sense what is good and right and correct for you. So when you're
Mhm.
talking about being connected to the gate of power, it's that ability to, like, a lot of times there's something danger here, move. It's just
Mhm.
like, it's quick and it's fast and it just like can get you moving in a direction without even question it. You really shouldn't. It'll speak. I
Mhm.
think I've had experience with this gate before, or this channel before. Of course I have. Cognitive awareness, but and then so being connected to the 10, it's going to have that instinct and awareness to know what is right. When it says perfected form, it's connected to love and beauty as well, but it's also like gate 10 is that love of the self, and
Mhm.
it is attuned to the self identity there of that awareness and intuitive awareness of what's going to enhance that. And then to the 205720, the brainwave is interesting. And so really that brainwave is like that ability to think on your feet. It's like it's gate 20 is in the now, and 57 is very much in the now. So it's very
Mhm.
much an in the now awareness of what's correct. And
It's
so
interesting that it's called the brainwave when it's not at all anywhere connected to what we would associate with the
I
brain.
mean, welcome to fucking human design terms sometimes. It's like sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. It might make sense 10 years down the road. You just get another awareness of what it all means. And because going around and around all these things all the time and same thing. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Well, that's
Mhm.
just where it is. But anyway, so all of these connections are all about the individual and understanding what's correct for you and listening to that body awareness and following that body awareness of what's correct. What's also interesting, excuse me, is this gate is associated with the right ear, with intuitive
Mhm.
hearing. And that's what they call the right ear, is the intuitive ear. And so it says when you're
Ooh.
listening, sometimes right ear is not so much hearing the words, but it is hearing the intention, like being able to tap in more to like what is actually going on instead of
Mhm.
what somebody might be telling you. You can actually kind of discern what's under the surface.
Mhm.
And that also, it's a very subtle vibration. And so it can also make you appear that you are selectively hearing others or maybe not even listening clearly enough, but it's really because it's a different level of hearing, filtering out information, trusting yourself, trusting that body awareness that is this, uh, not only is this true, but, you know, it's kind of, if you think about being an old awareness center, instinctual awareness
Mhm.
center, it's like this is what kept you alive, right? It's what would listen for the threat or the danger so that you
Mhm.
would know it's time to move. Get out of here.
It has to listen to the unspoken.
Okay, so one of the lessons here at Gate 57 is learning to trust your intuition and being able to distinguish between a real, like, instinctive response or a fear. Oh, we didn't discuss the fear here of this
Oh.
gate. It's deep. It's the fear of the future,
Oh God.
obviously. Duh. I say obviously because when you're thinking about the right ear, it's always scanning for danger or it's
Present.
scanning for what is going on that you can't always see, but you could maybe pick up. It's yeah, it's that fear of not knowing what's going to happen and being prepared. It wants to be prepared. It wants to know because
Mhm.
that's how you
Mhm.
survive. If you can anticipate what's going to happen,
Mhm.
then you can act appropriately. But this, if you think where it's connected to, it really is needing to be in the present is where the
Mhm.
safety is. It's not leaping forward into the future. It's where you want to go, but also if you can just kind of stay present and listen. Because what do we also say about intuition? Is like, I often say it's the still small voice inside it. It speaks once, it speaks softly. It's like, You never heard that? Your
Nope.
intuition, it kind of, well, if you think you're splenic, it's like you can't really, it's not like you hear these booming voices telling you what to do. It's just kind of a quiet knowing. And that's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
present in this gate. And so really it's necessary to not allow any of these fears to really run your life, but
Mhm.
this one in particular can keep
Mhm.
you paralyzed in fear of what might happen. And so you just tend to stay safe. Because freeze, what is that? Fight or flight
Mhm.
response or freeze.
They yeah, I was gonna say they do say that there's 3 now.
Yeah. Yeah. Fight or freeze. Scary when you think about it. Like, where would what would
I
actually happen in that situation?
I think I might be a freeze.
Freezers die. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Unless you're hidden. But anyways, and so also to remember in all these gates when we're talking about these fears, they're not really life-threatening fears. They are lingering, reminiscent fears of the past of when it was like
It
life or
was truly
death.
life or death, yeah. Now it's like,
Because this is our, yeah, we've talked about this is our oldest awareness center. This is where our lizard brain is still, is sometimes in that instinctual awareness. But anyways, so as I said, this is individual knowing, excuse me, individual circuitry, because it is very tied. We can see those gates, especially to the self, but it's also part of the integration network, which is focused really entirely on the self empowerment, and the individual, which survival in the
Mhm.
world, how it survives. So really paying attention in these days as we transit through your relationship with your intuition. Because even though if you don't have this gate activated in your chart, remember, we do have all these energies present within us. It's just experienced differently at different times
Mhm.
around different people. Whereas if it's defined, it's going to feel a little more constant and reliable, and you may be better in touch with how it operates. But to really think about your connection with your intuition, maybe keep a log of those days of, or even just following your intuition if you know what that feels like, to be paying attention more in the moment of, what is my body telling me right now? Where should I go? What am I picking up from the environment around me?
Mhm.
And what feels good, what feels safe, what should be avoided, those kind of, especially if you're out in the environment, out in the world. Cuz really we just like, we have so much coming at us all the time. We don't
Yeah.
like slow down and really get quiet enough to really be in tune with that. And then also reflect on times that maybe you did get a clear hit of knowing of intuition,
Mhm.
and what was the outcome? What was it about? Was it about your personal, well, obviously, well, I'll say obviously, but was it a like safety thing?
Mhm.
Like I said, the time I was boogie boarding and years ago with your dad, and found myself stuck in a rip current. I didn't know what to do because I had only
Mhm.
lived at the beach for a year or two. And there was that clear knowing voice, whatever you want to call it, intuition came through very clearly, told me what to do in the moment. And I
Mhm.
followed the advice, which was quit fighting and just relax and let it go this direction. Don't try to fight against it. And I was able to get out of it on my own. So it
Mhm.
definitely kicked in what I needed it to. So that is gate 57.
Mhm.
All right, moving on to October 14th. This is the day my bestie was born. Anyways, October 14th, we move into gate 32. And so, of course, as I am preparing for this gate and preparing resource or the information for this, I'm thinking about my friend. Gate 32 in the I Ching is called duration. In traditional human design, it's the gate of continuity. And in quantum, it's endurance. It is connected to the root center in gate 54 through the channel of transformation.
Mm.
It's also called the marrying maiden. And
Oh.
so this channel, this transformation really is about that upward movement in a way. So let me go back. Gate 32 has this ability to really suss out and see the true worth of things, of people, of situations. It's able to help, or not able to help. It's able to really see the value, figure out what will work well and what won't. And this is to ensure success in the long run. And so it can also manifest as energy that um, kind of understands what needs to be done in order to turn a dream into reality. So the marrying maiden, the other end of this channel, Gate 54, is about making sure that you have things in place, you have what you need so that when you are called forward, you can, for the promotion or for the, when someone recognizes the talent or whatever, it's like, I'm ready, let's go.
Mhm.
It is a starting energy, it is wanting to move something forward. And then gate 32 is this, it's also tied to waiting and getting ready and making sure things are in place and able to trust that when the time is right, things will work out the way they should for the best of everybody. It also helps turn some of this, it's moving that energy upward into action. So there is this relationship between the two gates of preparation, of knowing what's needed, and it also is attuned to the sense of smell,
Ooh.
and it is being able to kind of sniff out the opportunities, the people, the right situations. It has a keen sense of smell. And the nose knows. It has a, like I said, it can sniff out the right people who have the right skills to succeed. It can help bring attention to these people. It can help ideas. It can help bring attention to
Mhm.
ideas, to people, situations, things, and help bring it through to success.
Is this tribal energy?
Yes, this is tribal energy. It is part of the tribal, like business support business circuit, which starts in the 5432, goes up 4426, 2145, kind of like a little lasso, kind of a little zigzag.
I have
Um,
like I have that, but none of it's complete.
Connected.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you have parts
but I
of it.
have yeah, like almost every single part into it.
Well, what's interesting is you do, but then you have parts, but then the people in your life have the other parts. Because, like,
Mm.
your husband has the 5432. I think he has the full circuit, does he? Or does he just have the 54? I mean, I have the 44, you have the 26, you have the 45, I think. So
Mhm.
we're going to cut that. So really this expression of this gate is having the awareness of what needs to be done, what needs to be tended to make a dream or an ambition a reality. um, it is again setting the stage, being prepared, being ready, and trusting that once everything's in place, everything will turn out the way it's supposed to. It's going to happen the way it should for the best for everyone involved. So really, since I'm sure you've heard it when I just said it, there's going to be a lot of uh, lessons here around trusting timing,
Mhm.
of having faith that you'll know when the right time is, allowing it to unfold, but to just be patient and be prepared. And so the fear here in this gate is the fear of failure,
Mhm. Mhm.
and letting this fear of failure to kind of keep you stuck and avoiding preparing what you need to do. So maybe you've been, you know, that there's I don't know, even like a closet that needs to be cleaned out, or there's a project that needs to be finished, but you just haven't done it yet. This is a good time to look at these areas in your life of where, when things maybe start moving again, are you going to be ready? Is everything in place? Don't leave any loose ends behind, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And to also, because it's with timing, to not push the timing, not try to force timing, because where is it coming from? It's coming from the root, right? The
Mhm.
energy is coming
Yeah.
from the root. So that means you don't know what it is.
Nope.
You just got to be prepared. So during this transit, really looking at your life, looking at, you don't have to go too deep, but really, is there anything that you know that you kind of need to fix or change that you've been kind of putting off, avoiding? Um, you know, just kind of looking at those areas. Um, Also think about that fear of failure. Are there situations in your life where this fear of failure, of maybe not succeeding, is holding you back from taking action? And also, because this gate brings with it the ability, it's always evaluating and knowing what can or who can help or what can be changed, or being able to spot the skills, or spot people that have different skills to succeed or to help you succeed or to help the tribe.
Mm,
Really, how can you, are there people in your life that maybe they have some unrealized talent or skills, and who in your life do you recognize that maybe they could use a little more support in that area to help bring that forward more as well? So really, it's just a lot of awareness of being ready to be ready.
mm,
It's what I like to, it's one of the mantras I have. I'm ready to be ready, ready to be ready. Just be ready to be ready. That's a good one. Okay, moving on to October 19th. We're moving into the gate 50,
ooh,
50, the 50. And this in the I Ching is known as the cauldron.
oh,
We've
spooky.
got the well, we've got a cauldron. That's right. In traditional, it's known as the gate of values. And in quantum, it is the gate of nurturing.
Mhm,
And this is also another tribal gate. It's in the defense circuit. It connects to gate 27 in a sacral. Um, so, oh, sorry, that channel 20, 50, 27, 50, or 50, 27, we're going to call it gate or channel of preservation.
mhm,
And so there is lots of themes here around values, and specifically the values of the tribe. So when we look at that defense circuit 50 to 27, and then the other
mhm,
side is the 59-6 on the other side of the sacral, this is the energy really that we talk about. The 59-6 is more that father energy, 50-27 is more the mother energy.
mm, okay.
And I know we've talked about this before, and I really love talking about it, but it is the energy in that channel of caring for the tribe, caring for
Mhm,
the children, because we talk about what's the genetic imperative of every living species on Earth is. Do you
to
remember?
continue on.
Yeah, to at least ensure the survival of their
Mhm,
their offsprings, so that it can create another generation. And so in this gate, that's what it's talking about here. This is the cauldron. This is the person that you think of a cauldron. It holds things, right? It holds
mhm,
all the ideas, all the inspirations, all the values that the tribe holds. And they are like the protector, the defender, the enforcer of these things. And so it's nourishing that. It's understanding what your people, what your community, what humanity needs in order to ensure the survival
mhm,
of their families, their communities, their species. It's all right there. And it's also sometimes referred to as the guardian. It has a very strong sense of like right and wrong.
mhm,
It's maintaining rules and values for your community, and also wanting to make sure it's not just like an iron hand. If you remember, it has that more, it's connected to 27, and it is also referred to as nurturing. It has this, there's a understanding that if children and people are clothed, are fed, have
mhm,
shelter, are taken care of, then we all succeed, which I just love this
mhm,
analogy of that's what we all really need. And this energy is all about that. If you
mhm,
don't have gate 27, you may feel that you are the, you may have to do things for others that you don't necessarily want to do. I think it's easier to have 50 without 27 than 27 without 50, because 27 is a lot of energy there and it wants to
mhm.
do everything. 50 is like, yeah, I know what needs to be done. I don't necessarily feel like I have to do everything. It can save itself a little bit from that burnout, but there's a lot of duty attached here. You feel like you want to say something.
No,
Okay.
I don't think
All
so.
right. The fear here is the fear. It's now this one of those fears that sounds a little confusing. Fear of
Okay.
responsibility,
Mm.
and
Oh, I remember talking about this.
because there is a lot of there's a feeling of responsibility in
Mhm.
this, and the fear there, the fear of responsibility, really is the shadow of this gate. Is this lack of personal responsibility? It's
Yeah.
being so self focused that um, you're not upholding any of this end of the bargain kind of thing. You're not paying
Mhm.
attention to what others need.
Yeah.
And so I
It's
can
more of
never
a
tell if,
it's more of a fear of dropping responsibility.
yeah, of not being able to live up to it, really. Um, and so, again, tribal support. Um, so, optimally, this expression, this gate, if you have it, it is the ability to take care of others while also understanding that you yourself have things that you need to be taken care of, to put
Mhm.
your oxygen mask on before you try to help everybody else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And having following your intuition to know what people need and to either help them attain that or provide that for them, but again, not at your own expense. That's to be
Mm.
very, very, very deeply, and that
Mhm.
is to be particularly highlighted because when you're unbalanced here, you're overgiving, you're overcaring, you feel guilty for taking care of yourself and what you need. And also, you might, in the shadow here, hold a little bit too strongly to some of your rigid principles and may want to struggle with allowing others to kind of learn lessons on their own. Like
Mm.
this, I think it was Karen Curry Parker talking about how this gate and especially this energy here in this channel is like allowing others to make mistakes,
Mm.
knowing that people, you may have the values, may know what needs to be done, and you may like know all these things, but at a certain point, you've got to stop being the helicopter mom and
Mm.
like trying to control everything and
Mhm.
just let them do their own thing. Um, oh, I know what I wanted to say about this gate.
Mhm.
So this makes me feel a little bit better as we come up to the election in November here in the United States. That the one candidate that I plan on voting for, Kamala Harris, this is her sun gate. So she'll be having a
Oh.
birthday around this time. I don't know if her birthday is the 19th. I don't know. But because I've never, not never, I haven't always been a Kamala Harris fan, especially having
Mhm.
campaigned for other candidates. Um, I I do feel like her leadership is the right step forward for this country. Nothing's perfect. Um, but I feel like she won't burn the house down, basically.
With us in it.
But I did, honestly, I did a little while back when she first got the nomination, um, because I just don't like the whole process that whole went on. But anyways, whole other topic. But it really made me feel better knowing that this is her son energy, is
Mhm.
that knowing what I know about human design and how I feel attuned to certain things in my life. It may be something you struggle with as well. It may, but seeing her career as a litigator, as a prosecutor, as some of the things she has worked on before with women and children in the judicial system, and she definitely has I mean, you can't be a prosecutor, attorney general without having a sense of like knowing the
Right and wrong.
values, right and wrong. And I've
Yeah.
heard her speak on it before. I did feel that it was genuine, her
Mhm.
concern for um, values we hold as Americans and as people. But so I do feel better. And maybe that'll help you feel better too out there if you've had this concern. But, anyways, I just wanted to mention that. So
Yep.
that's pretty interesting. All right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Here we go on the next gate.
The
On the
next.
25th of October, moving into gate 28. Obviously, spring.
Yes.
Gate 28 in the I Ching is called preponderance of the great.
Mm.
Traditional, it's called gate of the game player.
Ooh.
And in quantum, she calls it the gate of adventure or challenge.
Oh.
And so, game player, adventure, challenge, I think really does encapsulate what this is about. It is about, oh, sorry, I should also say it's connected to the root, gate 38. So it's channel of struggle,
Mhm.
which is one of those channels everybody gets like,
Mhm.
oh, I got the
Uh.
channel of struggle. And so the game player. adventure, challenge, really. So this is somebody, this energy is showing us that life is really, uh, it is almost like a game. It's going to be full of challenges and adventures. I mean, every good quest, every good game, every good thing, there is something that has to be overcome. There has to
Mhm.
be a willingness to jump in and take the risk. And if you have this gate, and this is the energy that will be in the air, this is someone that is ready to take risks and try new things. They want to make the most out of life and find what makes it meaningful. Their biggest fear, there's a fear here of not having enough time, of fear that their life might end before they discover its true purpose. And when you look at your husband with that 30, that
Mhm.
54 ambition, and then this full channel, but this gate really is, he's always like trying to maximize. He wants to like make sure he's making the most out of his life all the
Mhm.
time, does he not?
Oh, yes. Yes.
We're very
Every
familiar.
second.
And so he is, I mean, he gets you to try new things, right? You guys
Mhm.
are out, you guys have started running, you're fly fishing, you moved to Colorado, you're just
Yeah.
like, let's just try it. Let's just see what happens.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what this energy is about. It's also having a sense, because it is still a spleen gate. It has the sense of knowing which risks might be worth taking to like improve your life or to feel more alive, more vital.
Mhm.
They're aware that there's going to be danger. It has instinctual awareness. It could be not dangerous, but there could be challenges there,
Mhm.
but willing to face it anyhow. So, not risk adverse, these people.
No. No.
It doesn't mean you're reckless, but it means
Yeah.
that you understand that. And that's the whole theme with that 2838. Because 38 is the fighter,
Mhm.
is the energy to get into action, willing to take on the challenge. And this is knowing what challenge to take on, where
Mhm.
to go, where to direct that energy. And this is somebody, the game player, someone who's willing to do things that maybe other people aren't, really, because they really have this desire to really live life to the fullest. And there's also that fear of not only not having enough time, but like there is no purpose to
Mhm.
life. It's like I really want to live life. And so this energy here, the people here are here to remind us that life is a journey. It is somewhat of a game. I mean, you travel in certain circles and everybody's like, you get to a certain place, I think, where you think it is all just a game. We're just here to learn, see what
Mhm.
happens, try things out. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. What do you do? We've always talked about the importance of this channel, of knowing that you're going to have to struggle at some point. There's no
Mhm.
growth without struggle.
Right.
This gate just kind of helps channel that energy a little bit
Mhm.
better. It is an individual circuitry gate, or yes, gate. And so it is channeling a lot of like life, vitality, energy, that
Mhm.
adrenalized energy. And it's going to be different. You're going to do it differently than other people
Yeah.
because it's individual.
It is a interesting. Where did you say that this placement was in Presley's chart? His was this his moon?
His unconscious Mercury. So it's his how he communicates, what he communicates, like what.
Because he just the other day he told me he's like, I feel like we don't have enough adventure in our lives. I was like, oh okay.
Like I said, it's part of the reason you guys moved out there to take, have new adventures and
Mhm.
learn new things, have the ability to go out and try something new all the time. I mean, he definitely has that. I mean, what does he mean by that? Like, what do you want to do?
I
Rock
don't
climbing
know.
next?
I don't know.
It'd be like, what is? Hey, that would be a good idea. Not a good idea. A fun little exploration, let's say, of, oh, what is that? Let's see. What does that mean to you? What do you think's an adventure? Did you
For
ask
him,
her
it's
that?
apparently just getting outside. Like he was tired of spending weekends where we would just kind of hang around the apartment. He played video games. He's like, that's not why we moved out here. And I was like, fair.
Yeah, it's true. Get outdoors more. Go wander. But anyway, so yeah, so on the flip side of things, when you're not really, if you're more in the shadow side of this, it is an unwillingness to try something new or to get out there. or to act out of fear that it will be too painful, it'll be too hard, there'll be too much struggle, or you're going to fail at it, to feel like a failure, or to fall into victim consciousness. That is the other side of this, is to
Mhm.
obviously not be adventurous. So, and to understand in life that not every adventure, new challenge is always going to work out the way you want to, but the idea is to still pursue it anyhow, because ultimately, over time, a collection of these experiences, I think, are going to lead you to where you need to be.
Mhm.
And that, in order for us to grow, to remember that all of these energies are there to help us understand what it means to be human. And this is part of that thing. It's like, you got to get out there, you got to get involved, you got to try
Mhm.
new things. And this gate shows us that. So, think about those as you go over these days. Maybe start a new adventures. Think about something you have been contemplating. Maybe, oh, is this something I want to try? You might find the energy is there on this day or on these days to explore that.
Mhm.
And also look back at your life. Were there things or times that you did take the risks? Or people said, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea, but you just felt your instincts pulled you in a certain direction. And were there challenges involved? Was it worth it? Those kind of things. What did you learn from taking
Mhm.
the risks? So really just reflecting on all of those themes there. So, coming up to the end of October, on the
Uh-huh.
31st, we're going to move into gate 44, the last gate here in the spleen. 44, I like the I Ching name of this because I think it's representative of what it looks like it's doing. It's reaching over to the gate 26 in the Will Center.
Mhm.
And so in the I Ching is called coming to meet.
Mm.
To meet. Traditional is the gate of alertness. And in quantum is the gate of truth.
Oh.
This channel that it creates there with the 26, I have the 44, you have the 26,
Mm.
is the channel of surrender.
Oh.
And so 44 is a lot about memory and patterns. It helps us remember uh, the ways we've done things before in the past that have worked out well to help secure your needs, because again, this is also tribal energy. And it is being able to recognize the patterns of the past, seeing what worked, what didn't. So
Mhm.
as we move forward, you know how to communicate to the tribe what needs to be done, what we need to do in order to ensure our survival. You've got something to
Mhm.
say, I feel like.
Oh, no, I just looked at my chart and I know we've looked at this a million times, but 26 is my unconscious sun. And if I
Yeah.
remember correctly what this gate is, it makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Gate 26 is that gate of integrity. And it's being able to, when it connects with the 20, this is part of that business circuitry as well.
Mhm.
And so say 44 like helps if you think about the sales experience. So you're going to buy a new car, or you're going to the real estate agent sets the house. What do they say
Mhm.
when they want to sell a house? They
You
stage the
bake
house.
cookies.
They make cookies. They make it look good. They make it feel good. So it
Mhm.
puts you in that mindset of like, oh, I could see myself here. Oh, this is something I could do. Or, oh, you want to take it for a test drive? You want to drive the car?
Mhm.
It's this welcoming environment that does use in that channel we talked about before. There is a certain amount of manipulation. There's an energy there that is able to tap into and to manipulate memory and to be able to persuade people to your way of seeing things. But it's all tuned in the highest expression towards what's best for the tribe, what's best for our
Mhm.
survival. And so sometimes things happen in the past that are scary, or they might not want to look at it. And this gate has the ability to kind of reframe that and be like, okay, well, let's think about what we learned and what we gain and what's good
Mhm.
about it and why we need to do XYZ as we move forward. And then it has the energy from the gate 26, if it's connected, to start putting that into reality. Since it is tied to patterns and seeing, recognizing patterns of the past, it has the fear of the past as well. Specifically, it
Mhm.
has a fear there of the past repeating itself, right? Um, this is also one of those places where you can totally sabotage yourself by
Mhm.
assuming this is what happened before, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
and can attest to that as well. It's something that can keep you in place because you don't want to move forward. But the best thing you can do here is to remember that, yes, that happened. There could be something to be learned there. And it's something that work with all the time. I definitely always find myself back in this unconscious limiting beliefs of it's just not going to work. This is what's
Mhm.
going to happen. But that's not true necessarily. Yes, you can gain value from what you learned, but you can create a new
Mhm.
outcome by recognizing that, but not
Yeah.
like assuming the same's going to happen again.
Because, like, if similar situations come up again, you've dealt with it before, and okay, I can change. I can change
Hmm.
things. I can change this.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that's in or I've read once that really stuck with me is like you can't you can't create the future you want if you're dragging the past into it. You have to like stay grounded in the present
Mhm.
and understand that from every moment you're creating a new future. And so, but if you're always living in the past, you're just recreating the past over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
So, this gives us the awareness of, like I said, knowing what we need to know, but then how do we take that and move forward into something
Mhm.
new? So, the challenge here
It
is not to get stuck.
yeah. It just reminds
What?
me of the the episode of the second season of Loki that you guys started into.
What? What do you mean?
Where you guys accidentally started watching the 6th
How does
episode?
that remind you of that?
Because he in that scene, he is reliving the past over and over and over again. He's
Oh,
trying to
see,
change it, but
I couldn't even. It's what she's referring to is we all watched the first season of Loki while she was here, and then, and then we started. Well, after she left, we started watching the second season of Loki, and it was an intense episode. We're like, wow, there's a lot going on, but it's all about timelines and time travel and all this other stuff, so it doesn't always make sense. But about 40 minutes into the episode, we paused it for some reason and realized we were watching the very last episode of the season, not the first episode. We realized the end
jumped
of it.
right into the end.
No wonder we were so confused. Still haven't gone back and watched the rest of it yet, but I will eventually. But yeah, there was a lot of him running things over and over and over and
Mhm.
over and over again.
Trying to
And then he
change it.
eventually had to come up with a new solution, didn't he?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm not gonna, no spoilers, but I couldn't explain it to you.
No spoilers, but you like semi spoiled it for yourself.
Still haven't watched the complete episode, so I don't know exactly everything. But anyways, move on. So yeah, so let's see. So just don't allow yourself to get stuck in patterns. So really, you might feel a little reflective at this time, looking back at your past, noticing the patterns. Is there a pattern you maybe need to interrupt? Is there something in order to move forward that you can change? Looking at even in families, maybe something, a dynamic that's been going on that have you noticed you guys are always repeating a pattern? Is there something that needs to change, to shift, to move? Are you holding yourself back depending on what has happened in your past experience? Do you see where you're creating these patterns of things repeating themselves? Just really taking the time to look at all that during this time. So that, my dear, brings us to the conclusion of October and
Mhm.
our tour through the spleen. I
Yeah.
love the spleen. It's
I
got so
do
much
too. It's my authority. I
wisdom
just
and
love the
value in there.
spleen.
Oh, it is. I have a lot of resonance with it. I guess it's, yeah, I
I
guess it is this gate that I have, or the center I have the most activations in, that and
it's
sacral.
it's funny for me that it is my authority, but I have one gate.
Yeah, got one game, but it's
Yeah.
defined. You're at a defined center. Like you said, it's your authority. So pay attention.
So I have a question
Okay.
with the whole 4426, that
Mm-hmm.
the end of it, because I have the 26 like we said, and that's my sun energy. And then when the sun is then going to transit into 44,
Mm-hmm.
is that going to be just like uber powerful, or like I don't know if that's really like how it works out, or kind of
Well, yeah, when you have a hanging gate like you do, gate 26, and any transiting planet
Mhm.
through the opposite gate, it is going to give you the flavor of that channel of being activated. So transits do help um, complete channels in that way. Now, that being said, it does not mean necessarily that you have a defined will center at this point. But what it does mean is that it helps you tap into that energy a little bit more. So, what the full channel awareness can feel like.
Because I mean, I am asking the question more in the relevance that both are through sun, that both of those activations will be through the sun.
So, yeah, so if you think about your gate 26, like I said, that is that integrity. It's being able to, so 44 is where the memories are hold, and then 26 is that salesperson energy of where it knows how to then manipulate those memories in order to uh, create the change, in order to create the direction of where things need to go in order to create those resources and everything. So we always said that 26 with your unconscious sun energy, you are always, I think, able to, like, I always felt like you were kind of always trying to direct us, even though you didn't realize you were doing it. Could be your projectorness too, as well, of knowing, and you're 18, of knowing what needs to be done. And so this transit could give you a better understanding or feeling of what it's like to know when you're linked up with that energy, with that other side of 44, of where to direct that energy better, where you're going to have more success, I guess, if you're tapping into the right people and the right situations. And so once you've experienced this every year of your life, but now you could be more aware of it, of how do I feel during those times? Do I feel more effective? Am I able to maybe have more of an impact, more clarity and knowingness of when and where to share what I need to share, kind of thing? Just something to look at, possibly. It's a good question. I don't know if I answered it effectively, but we'll see. Okay. So as we wrap it up, you know what time it is, Haley?
The incarnation cross of the week.
Yes, it is time for the Incarnation Cross of the Week, where we pick somewhat at random an incarnation cross to kind of just a little synopsis of, a little flavor of, because there's 192 incarnation crosses, as we were just kind of discussing a little bit there. They are the top four gates in your chart, the sun and earth placements of your conscious and unconscious side of your chart create kind of this theme, this path, this purpose that you're on in life. And so this week chose the left angle cross of Incarnation 2. Now, this is a little bit of a
It's an
cheat.
incarnation cross of incarnations.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
even believe the juxtaposition cross of this cross is called Incarnation. I'm not sure. I can't remember. No, it's no. Yeah, maybe it is. Don't remember. No, I don't think so. It's like a
You're like
dog.
a dog.
Now, I say somewhat at random because I did on the fly as I was preparing for this episode. I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have one pick. So I did pick one that started with this one of the gates we just discussed. And so the left angle cross of Incarnation 2 consists of, on the personality side of your chart, the right hand side, conscious side, your gates would be, your sun gate would be in gate 44, gate of alertness. The earth would be in gate 24, rationalization or realization. On the unconscious side, your sun is in gate 7, the role of the self. And your unconscious earth is in gate 13, the listener.
So we have alertness, realization, gate of the self,
Oh, yeah. I think you also call it the army, gate 7.
army, and then
The
what was the
listener.
last one? What?
Yeah. The listener.
Oh.
Ooh, classic. Okay. So if you were born under the left angle cross of Incarnation 2, happy birthday at the end of October. We know that much. But you're here to uncover and share special something, memories from the past, making it relevant and accessible to others today in the present. Your goal is to preserve timeless treasures and values and ensure they remain meaningful even in our more modern times. Your purpose is to empower others to reevaluate their self worth and their personal stories, and you help people rewrite their narratives, revealing their true value and their purpose. By breaking free from past traumas, you guide them in releasing these limiting patterns and stories that have held them back in life. And this enables them to unlock their true potential and manifest their dreams. Through your guidance, you help people overcome past failures and traumas, letting go of restrictive stories that have always limited them. This shift in perspective allows them to take control of their lives, manifest their highest potential, and live a life that truly reflects their worth and purpose.
Probably because we just talked about 44, I can really see how
Mm-hmm.
much it leans towards it.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. So there
Okay.
you go. Lifting
Yeah.
across Incarnation too.
Woo.
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 This felt like a
So
long one
that's.
today, but we'll see. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that's October.
That's October. There you go.
Mhm.
So, as you move through this month, then just be really paying attention. You're gonna have a lot of intuition, a lot of
Mhm.
instinctual awareness. Just pay attention to the things you don't necessarily see, but what is happening around you. Really
Mhm.
open your senses, listening to your body during this month, and see where it's being guided, what kind of awareness comes through. So, anyways, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
And once again, we appreciate y'all listening to us. Couldn't do it without you. I mean, we could, but you know,
Be less fun.
we don't want to. uh, we want to. It's more fun to know everybody's is along
Mhm.
on the ride here. But anyways, so we do appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you being here with me, Haley.
Mhm.
And until next time, bye for now.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.